sets. So there's tan, green, blue, different shades of all of those. And those are all the shades that you see when you're looking out at the water. Now that open space towards the top is a way to decrease wind forces. That is literally a blowhole through which the wind can go. There are condominiums up there, so of course they don't want to feel those wind forces upon the building up there, and that's a very thin tower. So the way they combat that is to let the wind go right through the top of the building. Take a look at the building that is in the shape of a triangle coming up. That is by Harry Weese, and he loved using triangles in his architecture because they reminded him of sailing, which he loved. This is the Swiss Hotel, and it actually has great views on every side because of that triangular shape. Now behind you see a building, another one with wavy motif there, wavy floors, and that's another Genie Gang building. That's the Aqua. The Aqua was completed in 2009, and it is home to the Radisson Blu Hotel, as well as rental and condominium units. She was inspired by limestone outcroppings in Illinois, and you can see that kind of looks like a climbing wall, or some people say it looks like water is dripping down the side. Now we're going under Columbus Drive Bridge. This is the second longest and widest trunnion bascule bridge in the entire world. It's one I like to stand underneath when we have bridge lift season. So there are certain seasons where there are regularly scheduled bridge lifts where the boats can either come in for the summer or they leave for the winter. So if you stand underneath the bridges at the time that they are being raised, it's a really fun experience with a beautiful view of all the sailboats coming through. Now this area on the left is originally called Illinois Center and was supposed to be entirely designed by Mies van der Rohe. So you will see an example of his work. Coming up right before the bridge, there is a rectangular dark glass and steel building. That is by the office of Mies van der Rohe. So he passed away before this could all be developed, and so you have different kinds of architecture throughout. However, that is a very typical look of his design, where you have that rectangular shape, the dark glass and steel, I-beams that are going up the sides of the windows. Keep that in your mind as we see other Mies van der Rohe buildings. Quickly on the right, if you're an Apple device owner, you might like to visit this store. This is our flagship location, the Apple Store, this glass pavilion. And this was designed by British designer Norman Foster, 2017. You can see people that are sitting on the steps in there. They have Apple presentations. They also have the commercial space below. And that roof is supposed to look like a laptop, but also is a nod to prairie-style designer Frank Lloyd Wright, who often used overhanging roofs, or what we call cantilevered roofs, in his architecture. If you're a Frank Lloyd Wright fan, you might like to visit his home and studio, which is just about 20 minutes west of here in Oak Park. All right, back to the left. We're going to see three Beaux-Arts-style buildings, or 1920s historical style, starting with the London House on the left. The London Guarantee and Accident Building was built in 1923 as a shipping insurance company. It has been since converted into the London House Boutique Hotel. Look at the Corinthian columns at the bottom of the building, also towards the top. And then you have that temple-like structure we call a tempietta. Now, if you want to propose to your loved one, if you want to get married up there, that is rentable space. There's also a rooftop restaurant up there. For a beautiful day like this, it would be a great place to get a bite to eat or a drink. Now, the renovation and addition were done by Inch Partners, attached to a tall building that looks like a tall Gothic rocket. That is Club Quarters and River Hotel. And this was designed in the 1920s by Riddle and Riddle, one of the skinniest buildings in Chicago, only about 250 square feet at the very top of the building. Now we have another building with a dome on top and smaller domes on each side. And this is the Jewelers Building, 1926 by architect Friedrich Dinkelberg. If you're from New York or if you know the Flatiron Building in New York City, same designer as did the Flatiron Building. Now this had an interior elevator for cars, so jewelers were concerned to keep their jewelry safe, so they could actually drive their cars into the bottom of the building and be transported all the way up through 22 floors. Also, that dome has housed a showroom for architect Helmut Young.